Yes, hi. I am calling this number because I saw it on a bathroom wall. Seeing if you're Brandi.
I'm Brandi Lukas, and this is Brandi is Going to Hell. My taste in music is all over the shop, and it's the driving force behind this show. I will be bringing you music updates and chats with artists that you won't hear anywhere else.
The only true currency in this bankrupt world is what you share with someone else when you're uncool.
I was like done with touring. I've done like the tours all through my life and stuff. But I said the only band that I would ever tour with would be Rival Sons. And once you know it, like 5 years later, I got the call to try out for the band. It's crazy. I actually believe in that whole projection, putting yourself out there in the universe and asking for what you want. Absolutely, totally subscribe to that.
I'm Brandi Lukas, and that was Todd Ögren, the keyboardist for two-time Grammy-nominated band Rival Sons. If you don't know Rival Sons, you should. They are an electrified soul and rock and roll band hailing from Long Beach, California. In this episode, Todd and I chat about keeping busy during the pandemic, how he went from the Philly hardcore scene to the Sunset Strip to the keyboardist in Rival Sons, what he's working on personally, and more. We dive into some weird questions and touch on pizza toppings too. I am so happy to relaunch Brandi is Going to Hell with more structure. 2020 was a total toss-up, and I channeled a lot of my energy in places where it wasn't needed or productive to my well-being. I worked from home every day from 10 to 7 and then kind of put my true calling to the side. The whole pandemic, I've watched gatekeepers in the music industry and in different music spaces interview the same people and have the same conversations. And to be honest, I find it quite boring. There are people and artists with stories, and they're not being heard only because there's no outlet for them to do so. I think this pandemic has taught me a lot about overcoming fear, imposter syndrome, and worrying about what others think way too much. In 2020, I released 5 episodes of Brandi is Going to Hell. 2019 had a number of episodes as well. And looking at the numbers, there's something there. There are people who are listening. There are people who are engaged. And I need to take advantage of this space that I create for people to be put on a pedestal and tell their story. I believe in these artists, and somebody might stumble across them and have a love for them as well. At the end of the day, I feel like it's my purpose and my godsend to put more energy into this child of mine. I feel like it's doing a disservice to the awesome music I support and consume, which is why I did a slight rebrand. I upped the production and have contacted loads of artists I'm friends with and or love personally. And I just want to put out more good vibes in 2021. At the end of the day, I'm a music fan. Yes, I get to work in management during the day, but at night, I'm creeping through the crate, or maybe the figurative crate, which is the wormhole of Spotify and other streaming services, to find bands that I like. It's an active love. With that said, I wanted to dive into some new music I'm currently digging hardcore. So the post-punk space coming out of the UK and Ireland is very, very interesting to watch. And at this point, I think it's all a matter of who does it best, right? With so many sounds that are very similar but also very different coming out of the UK and Ireland. It's interesting watching all of these big outlets cover it, like, oh, yep, been done before, heard that before. But I really think a lot of these artists have something special to offer, even if it's kind of like a mutation of what you heard before. Without a doubt, the Murder Capital, based in Dublin, is at the top of that space. They released When I Have Fears in 2019, and it is just this attitude that I think is so defining of a lot of music coming out of the UK and Ireland at this point. So I definitely recommend listening to the Murder Capital's When I Have Fears front to back solid record. And just so you know, they were my last concert before the pandemic hit. March 12th, 2020, baby. And I'm living off of that high until I can go to a show again. With that said, and going back to February releases that got my gears grinding, is London four-piece TV Priest's album Uppers. In addition, I really dig Leeds-based band Mush and their new album Lines Redacted. So I would definitely recommend checking out those two artists, both post-punk and offering different vibes coming out of the UK. Some more great music I thought that came out of February. I freaking love the Psychedelic Porn Crumpets, and they released a new record, SHYGA, the Sunlight Mound. So please check that out. It is just something that you can put on and get lost in, and it fucking rocks. Huge hat tip to Australia for also producing these amazing bands, one of them being Psychedelic Porn Crumpets. I'm obsessed with also all the girl punk rock coming out of Australia as well. I'm going to leave it at one more release in February that's absolutely blown my mind, which the album title is called Komfort Food, and that's comfort with a K. This release is by 3 artists who are all beat makers. We've got Elaquent, BoomBaptist, and Juicy the Emissary, and this album is just dope as fuck, to put it as straightforward as possible. The whole album is a hip-hop instrumental and a reimagining of samples by the late J-Dilla, so I highly recommend checking that out as well. Without further ado, I am so excited to introduce Todd Ögren, the keyboardist for Rival Sons, who is also a touring and session musician, to Brandi is Going to Hell. I've known Todd for the past couple of years. My husband, Mike, was on the road with Rival Sons as a guitar tech, and I was introduced to Todd through that avenue. Todd is such a knowledgeable person, awesome musician, and just a great person in general. So I'm so honored to have him on Brandi is Going to Hell. Hi, Todd.
Hello, Brandi. It's Todd. Nice to see you.
How are you today? What'd you do today?
I've just been writing music all day.
Awesome.
Just been just trying to muster up some work the best way that I can, you know?
Cool.
How about you?
I worked all day.
Nice.
So, yeah, that 9 to 5, except mine's 10 to 7.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Oh, so you're just going right through it.
Yeah. And here I am with you. I'm so excited.
Yeah, me too. Thanks for having me.
Yes, of course. So I guess we'll just jump right into it, because that's the best way to start, right?
Let's do it. Let's do it.
So you and I are both South Jerseyans. Represent. I love
that.
Yeah,
it's incredible.
I know. Crazy story, how we all know each other, but I'll talk about that when I lead us all into the intro to this. To say the least, 2020 and 2021. However, I kind of want to time travel back to the beginning of 2020. You were at the fucking Grammys, and that was so cool. So Rival Sons were nominated for Best Rock Album with Feral Roots and Best Rock Performance for Too Bad. Yep. What was that experience like? 1. 2, I want to know all about your rad outfit. So lay it all on me.
All right. So, yeah, it was like January, like late January. And, you know, we were nominated, and it was like that, like whole experience of just finding out. We were in Europe touring. We got the call on the bus, and we were all celebrating. It was great. So we finally get to the Grammys the night before. We're staying in LA. And it was a surreal experience on many levels, just for the fact that, you know, you're going to the Grammys and you're going to be like, you know, just walking the red carpet, doing the step and repeat with the news outlets. Mm-hmm. But then also, unfortunately, it was, you know, Kobe Bryant just passed. So we're going into the Staples Center, the house that Kobe built. And it was just, it was bittersweet, the whole scenario. But unfortunately, for the way that the Grammys go this day and age, it was, you know, our category wasn't on the prime time slot. Yeah. It was like, you know, in the like late afternoon. Mm-hmm. So it was great though, because we got to, you know, see all the nominations on like the, you know, comedy and, different like other categories that you really wouldn't see on the prime time shows. So it was a cool experience that way. But it was like, we're all at the hotel. We all get into our cars, and we're just having a good time. And after everything was said and done, we stayed for like the first half of the Grammys, and then we were so hungry. We're just like, let's go get some Mexican food. Seriously, it's like we're just hungry. But yeah, from what I was wearing, I actually put that together about a week before I actually went.
Okay. Well, where did you get a star suit from a week before?
Yeah, well, I actually found that jacket. It's a Fix jacket, PHIX, but I found it on eBay. And but then I worked that whole outfit with a hat that I had made from Hatworks in Nashville by the wonderful Gigi. And it's like a white flat brimmed felt hat, totally custom to my head, and like the whole design, her and I came up with it. So it was great. It was really, really cool.
That is really cool. So that's your first time there? So it must have been surreal in itself, regardless of the somber kind of attitude of the day. But congrats to you guys. That's such an honor to still, be nominated and be in the moment. That's really cool.
Yeah, and like no one can ever take that away from us, from the band or anything. And we can always say like, Grammy nominated rock band Rival Sons. You know, and so anytime that I'm like, people ask like, oh, what do you do? I'm like, well, I'm a fry cook on Venus. No. But I could say, Grammy nominated rock band Rival Sons. So
amazing.
It's an honor.
Roots is like such a great record too. So that's
it
awesome.
Is. I love that record. I mean, I'm not even going to downplay it. I mean, that's like my favorite record of Rival Sons.
Awesome. Sweet.
Yeah.
So I know bits and pieces of your story for the most part because we've hung out, etc. But I'm sure also Rival Sons fans do as well. But most of my listeners do not. So can you talk a little bit about your journey from South Jersey to LA to playing keyboards for Rival Sons? But can you start from the beginning? So
sure.
What was your first instrument you ever started playing? And I'm going to chime in throughout the interview with questions from fans because I think it's fun to integrate them in. So with that, do you have any special memories that led you to become a musician? And that's from Bree on Instagram.
Well, my first musical experience is when, you're in elementary school and they give you an instrument. They're like, music class, here you go. You're like in 4th grade or something.
Is it the recorder?
No, mine was the clarinet. Mine was the clarinet.
Okay.
And the only reason why that I picked the clarinet is my grandmother's brother. He was a concert clarinet player, first chair, first seat, first section for the Philadelphia Symphony, the Tampa Orchestra, the Boston Pops, and so he was like a accomplished musician. And so I just got it because I was like, this is what I know, and this is it. So he came over to the house to give me some pointers, and how the clarinet is put together. It's like all different pieces. So he turned the mouthpiece around, and he told me, he was like, tell me when to breathe. And he played Flight of the Bumblebee on it. And I was getting this incredible concert, and I'm helping him. And I was like, oh my God, this is what you can do. So that was like my first instrument. Then I went on to like a saxophone. And then I wanted to play the piano. And I was at a young age, and I just started taking classical pieces and stuff and started doing that. And then I came across this band called Van Halen. And the song was Jump on 1984. And I saw this rock god playing the keyboards, and it was something that I did. And then I was like, oh my God, like hearing that awesome riff and the solo. And I was like, I can do that. So that's what got my start. And then my 2 brothers and my sister, we had like a little cover band and played little gigs here and there and stuff, like backyards and like different like hometown festival 4-H fairs and stuff.
Oh, cute.
And then during that time, I picked up the guitar. My dad, he played guitar. And so he gave me a couple pointers and I just started learning on my own. And then as years went on, that's when I discovered punk rock and hardcore. And I started playing in like the South Jersey, Philadelphia hardcore scene for a number of years. And
do you remember what time frame roughly that was?
This was like in 97.
Okay.
Through 99. It was like a 2-year, like pretty like solid 2 years. I was in a band called Forsaken Existence with my buddies. And, we played all like these amazing shows with these like legendary bands. Like it was back in the day, it's like New Jersey Bloodline, Come and Correct, Candiria, Hatebreed. And these are small shows too, before everyone started getting like bigger. Burnside.
What venues were they in? Because I'm from, I grew up going to concerts in Philly. So you were at the First Unitarian Church, or you got other little. Did that even exist yet? I don't even know.
No, maybe it started right when as my exit in that stage of my life. But these were like, there was this venue in Moosic, Moosic, Pennsylvania, called CC's.
Okay.
And there's not a lot of places that had hardcore shows because insurance wise and just the area. And then so I did that for a couple of years, and then I went to school in Orlando for recording engineering, and got my associates there, and then met a bunch of great people, and then did my internships in Fort Lauderdale, then came back to Philly after 2 years. And then after that, I had like my own studio set up, and I was recording demos for local bands and like mentoring like high school kids and stuff. It was just really, really fun. And then after that point, I think it was around 2000. Oh my God, what was it? 2004, I think. That's when I moved to LA.
Oh, okay.
And I went out there.
What even called you out there? Like, how did that? Oh, let me just go to LA. Is it just
my stepsister Desiree? She went out there about a year before I did.
Okay.
And then my other stepsister was going to go to school out in Santa Barbara. So she was going to go. She was all planned, and then it was like 2 months before she left, I was like, I'm coming with you. I'm moving too. I was like, screw it. So I sold a bunch of stuff and then went out to LA, and then was hooked up with a band called Palo Alto.
Okay.
And I played keyboards, guitar, and backup vocals, and did the whole LA scene, playing like all the legendary stuff on Sunset Strip and all in and around the LA area. Did that for a long time. And during that time, I came across, I met Michael Miley, the drummer for Rival Sons, and saw him like before Rival Sons even started, went out to like the gigs, just network, the thing that I do. He was playing in a band called Bird 3 at the time. And so we just hung out, kept in touch and stuff. And then I got fed up with LA. It was like the cross between the traffic, the too much sunshine for me. I'm a pale, freckle-faced, bald, blue-eyed dude. This is pre-beard. And so I was like, I said, I'm moving to New York City. Okay. So moved to New York City. And then I was there for 8 years.
Wow.
And then during that time, I was production managing for different music venues, started a couple bars, not on my ticket. I just helped open them up, and then being like a studio guy. So I did that for about, I would say 5-6 years.
Okay.
And then one day, I kept in contact with Miley, and he said that they just were finishing recording The Great Western Valkyrie, and it was key heavy. A guy by the name of Ike Owens, rest his soul. he played on the record and then needed someone to go out and tour with him. So he gave me the call and he said, listen, we're auditioning keyboard players. Why don't you fly out to Long Beach, and we're holding auditions. And so, I, on my own dime, and went out there. I had roughly about 3.5, 4 weeks to learn the album. And then I just basically learned pretty much 75% of their catalog, and went in to LA next day, had rehearsal, next day had the audition, rehearsals. And then the end of the second day is when I got the gig.
Wow.
And then about 4 days later, we played a record release show in LA. The name escapes me of the actual club. And then 2 weeks later, I'm on a plane to Paris. And then we played a TV show called Le Grand Journal. It's like a news / variety show. Mm-hmm. Very, very huge in France. But it's like the whole continent of Europe really knows about this show. And then after that, went over to Helsinki, and then the first actual show that I played with Rival Sons was opening up for Aerosmith.
Oh, wow.
For like 16,000 people. So going from playing like little shows and clubs and theaters in my life, from the time I was a kid to the first show to play, as like my gig was in an arena. So it was surreal. It was so surreal, but it was like, yes. And then here I am 7 years later.
That's amazing. I love that. That's so cool. Wow. That's like gotta be, have you heard of Rival Sons before you? Obviously, yes, because they were a band before that, and you just went through that, yeah.
But the before the Rival Sons, Scott Holiday, and he formed the band Black Summer Crush, and then it was Michael Miley, this guy, forget his first name, something Flowers, was the singer. Scott Holiday on guitar, and this guy Robin on bass. Well, they did one album, and then Jay Buchanan came on, and then they just kind of like revamped everything and re-recorded the first record, Before the Fire. And then that's when Rival Sons was born. And I saw Rival Sons at their first LA gig, which was the House of Blues. This is like in 2008 or 2009. But I saw Black Summer Crush before, but that's how I knew of the band. I've always been a fan of the band. And my ex-wife, I was like done with touring. I've done like the tours all through my life and stuff. But I said, like, if the only band that I would ever tour with would be Rival Sons. And once you know it, like 5 years later, I got the call to try out for the band. It's crazy. I actually believe in that whole projection, putting yourself out there in the universe and asking for what you want.
Oh, wow.
And
that's
then
so cool.
you absolutely, totally subscribe to that.
Yeah, that's really funny you mentioned that, because it's not funny. It's just coincidental, because for the past 21 days, and then I started another 21 days doing this very like positive energy 5-minute class with a guy from South Jersey that does these classes, and I'm trying to project the same things as well. So that's really cool.
you know what, the one thing that's been really helping me, like with the whole pandemic thing of not working and stuff, like for the past, I would say 6 to 7 months, I wake up in the morning and I write down my intentions, like 3 intentions that I have for the day, then 3 things that I'm thankful for. And I just write it down, put it, just put it aside, but I know it's there and stuff. And it's been helping tons.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Like not even worrying about the stuff that you should be doing or the stuff that's in the news. I don't even pay attention to the news.
Yeah, no.
I heard that we have a new president now. I'm only kidding.
Cool. Well, this is a perfect segue, because I was just about to talk about some of that stuff and like more of your personal projects. So,
okay.
You're Rival Sons American tour postponed, 6-week run, a full circle again with Aerosmith, right? Obviously rescheduled this year. Fingers crossed, but we'll see. And then Europe Fest canceled. So talk about a low blow, but your perseverance throughout the whole pandemic seems super inspiring. So I was listening to your podcast, which is kind of like latent, but understandably so. I kind of vibed with what you were picking up and putting down on the 3-episode run. But you said this thing that struck me, which was welcome to the backstage. That reference was so right, like about kind of like the hurry up and wait mentality of this,
Oh yeah.
and to make the best of it. So with that said, can you talk a little bit about your pandemic noodlings? And I'm going to double whammy this with a couple of fan questions as well. So
Okay.
on Instagram, Crystal asked, how do you inspire yourself during the pandemic? So you obviously have your list, but that. And then Ian from the Rival Sons and Daughters Facebook group asked, are you writing music? Are you learning any new instruments? So hit us with it.
All right. Well, first, I thanks for the questions, guys. And the Rival Sons fan pages on all the social media outlets and stuff. You guys have always had my back, and I love you guys.
Oh.
So to keeping inspired and stuff, during the pandemic, I actually started to learn just my instrument better, just practicing every day, just getting on a schedule of waking up, practicing, whether it's like rudiments or scales or practicing arpeggios or whatever, and just upping my game. And during that, I started to compose more for film and TV and commercials, just doing focusing a lot of the scoring aspect of it, string arrangements, horn arrangements, upping my.
Oh, sorry.
Go ahead.
Is that more personally, or do you have specific projects that you've worked on?
At first, it started off as a personal thing.
Cool.
Because I always loved scoring. I always loved the act of scoring. Like some of my favorite composers to this day, like Danny Elfman. He's like one of the guys that I got really, really into over the summer. Started studying him and then what he studied, but then that kind of morphed into me just going into different production houses and knocking on the virtual door and just saying, this is the stuff that I've recreated, this is the stuff that I've written, and, sending out. I send about 50 to about 75 emails a day.
Wow.
Every day. I constantly hound, I have my list and I constantly hound until I get the job.
Wow, that's
it
awesome.
doesn't know. It's very humbling when they tell you, do not contact us again. You're being annoying, but
every
finagle
opportunity you don't take is a miss.
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
Wayne Gretzky, 100%.
I love failing. I love failing. So been doing that, and I've gotten a few gigs, just like student films and independent movies, commercials locally. And then I put out the thing on social media of working with whoever wants who needs keyboards or arrangements or simple or whatever production. And it's not just these well-known established bands. I mean, some of them are established. I can go into the people who I've been working with, but there's some that are just, never had the push to get their own personal projects, completed. I have this one artist that I'm working with. She's written these songs years and years and years ago. And I applaud her for even, coming out and reaching out and taking advantage of the services that I'm offering and getting them off the ground. I mean, as an artist, I can tell you with the songs that you write and you never get them down on a recording, it just constantly lives in your head. And you never have the capacity to empty that out so you can continue to make new music. So yeah, I've been working with a lot of bands, written a few songs for other people. And I'm starting to write my own stuff for my own personal record. I have about 5 songs so far. So I want to get about 3 to 4 more. And then
what are the vibes?
It's actually all over the place.
I love that.
It's actually too much all over the place. Like I changed the voices, how I sing. Some of them are like, like jazzy. Some of them are screaming. Some are just this good old rock and roll spoken word. There's even a couple hip hop tunes on there. I mean, I'm all over the place. So I need to reel it in a little bit.
I'm excited. That sounds cool.
Yeah, it's all right. It's okay. But
be yourself. Who cares?
Yeah, you know what? You're right, Brandi. You're so
you
right.
live once.
Exactly. But a couple of this a band that I worked with, they're from Oklahoma called Reed Southall.
Okay.
They've been in like the Southern Belt touring, like Oklahoma, Arkansas, Texas, and there's like a huge market down there. They've been doing very, very well. But this new record that they wrote, it's so rocking. It kind of reminds me of a more like contemporary Kings of Leon kind of feel, mixed in with like some good old like Southern rock, but with some little Pearl Jam in it. So I offered my services to them, did about 9 tracks off their record, and just brought it up to like a different level. It's not like keyboard heavy on by any means, but for anyone out there that knows keyboards or just music in general, though, then like if you have a guitar heavy band, the keyboards just add a little bit of icing to it and just lifts it up, in a really, really good way. But I got to do string arrangements on it, different keyboards, whether it's Rhodes or the B3. It was really, really fun.
That's awesome. So when you work with other artists and they approach you, are you generally a yes man, or do you kind of seed out what you dig? Because I know different artists have different approaches, and I'm just curious about how you see it.
I asked them to send me, a clip of their song. And if the recording is like, if their final recording isn't up to like the standards of actual something I want to put my name on, I give them suggestions of like, why don't you just go back, do this, do that. When you're done, come back with me, then I'll work with you.
Cool. That's a good mentality.
But you know what I mean? Because I don't want to waste their time, and I don't want to waste my time either. And because I always want to put out a quality product, doesn't matter who it is. So as long as they have a good, like a reasonably sonically sound recording, and there's like minimal mistakes in it, and at least their guitar's in tune.
Yeah.
I'll work with them. I did about, since the pandemic, about 17 different records.
Oh, wow. That's amazing.
Yeah.
That's so cool. So is that just because of, I'm just curious because I don't really see that side. Is that like a one-time kind of payment, or do you get any kind of royal kind of payments with plays, or how does that work?
I generally don't require any royalties.
Okay.
But my fee to record them kind of goes up unless they offer me something substantial, like on the back end. Then it kind of like fluctuates how it goes, though. Okay. But I usually have like a standard rate. But then there is other people that, like, there was this one great band that I just finished a couple songs with them called the Penitent Man. They're from Salt Lake City, and I've been in contact with the guy Chris, the drummer, and he was like, "Okay, so we have 2 songs. One's 11 minutes long, one is 9 minutes long." I'm like, "Okay, so the rate's gonna not be like per song. Oh, okay. It's gonna be this, But that's one great band that I hope people latch on to. Awesome. The 2 songs that I got to be on, they're effing incredible. And I sent your boo, Mike, my organ solo. Oh. And it's basically a tribute to Donnie.
Oh, that's so cute. I love that. Okay.
It's so 70s rock.
Dope.
And I've been getting good, Brandi. I'm getting
excited.
Good.
That's awesome. Yeah, I mean, that's great. I love that. And that organ solo sounds. I'm like melting in my head about it. So sorry. I'm like, "Ugh, that organ solo.
I'll
like,
send you a
thinking about
clip.
it.
I'll send you the
Okay.
clip.
Okay.
But I can't wait for the song to be like finished and mixed, and so I can get those guys out, because they're a really, really good band. They're like kind of like a stoner, proggy, ethereal, heavy as F
Okay.
band. Like they're
You
really,
had me
really
at
good.
stoner, so no, that's awesome. So during the pandemic, also, I just have to mention this. Did you teach your mom guitar, or was that okay?
No, what happened was she started picking up it. She decided that she wanted to learn guitar.
Oh.
And she's up there in age. But my stepdad, he played guitar. Like they were in a band when they were kids. So he's always played guitar, and she sings, and at her age, she was just like, I'm just going to start learning the guitar. And then so she just picked up the acoustic. I helped her out picking out a proper one, because she's like 5 foot, nothing, literally 5 foot, and she's tiny, so she needed like a 3-quarter guitar, and she starts playing it and stuff. And so she sends me her clips playing like Hotel California, and other songs that she's learning, and she's wrote like in one song, and she goes, how does this do? She goes, maybe you can help me. I'm like, of course, Mama, help you.
Oh, that's so adorable. I just love that you're such a family man. That's so cute. And when you post about your mom, it like melts my heart. So I just like had to.
Well, it's an inspiration. It's an inspiration, though. I mean, seriously, there's like people out there that are doing the pandemic and stuff. They're all they're doing is fucking complain. Oh, can I curse on here?
Oh yeah.
Oh, okay. All right. They're just like sit around and complaining, and with their thumbs up their ass, and like they're just like, bah! And here's like a woman that's like, I'm just going to learn something new.
Yeah,
and
that's
she
beautiful.
did. Another thing that I've been doing in the pandemic was I've been taking a course in electrical engineering.
Wow, that's cool.
It's not credited or anything. It's not like I'm going to go out and put in like substations or anything like that, but it's something that I've always wanted to learn, and I had the downtime, so
that's awesome.
I'm always about it's pretty cool. So I'll learn how to put in an outlet.
Todd, you win this pandemic, so you do. That's great. So another thing that happened during the time off is you were actually also working, because Rival Sons was in the studio. So you went out to the studio to record, right?
Not yet.
Oh,
not yet.
Sorry, I thought you did.
That's okay. That's okay. I mean, there's been like a lot of like questions and stuff, people asking and stuff about it. Well, how the dynamic of the band works, the guitar player and singer, they write the songs and have like the kind of like the ideas for the core of the songs, and how it has worked in the past is I come in after everything is recorded, and then I lay my stuff down. Like with Hollow Bones, I went in there and I racked out that whole record in 6 hours. I was just like a madman. Dave Cobb was just like, here you go, do this. All right, do this. And I'm like, okay, let me listen to it. Okay. All right, do it again. And like, it was just like a mishmash, because we're under a tight schedule. Mm-hmm. And then for Feral Roots, I came in for the first 5 days, and then they had another session, and I wasn't a part of that. And then I came back in for like the last 3 days, because I mean, if a band's core is like vocals, guitar, booming drums and bass, and then I come in, which I know that I'm not going to have a solo or anything on there, or it's not going to be around the keyboards. Not yet anyway, I hope. Mm-hmm. But I'm going to be in probably on like the last session, and then I'll just lay my parts down.
Okay, so, awesome. Yeah. And when you're in the studio, how do you pepper in your vibes? Is it kind of like Jay and Scott write it, and then you add your element to that part? And does the producer, are they working with Dave Cobb again?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So, I mean, I guess if it's not happened yet, you can't really tell me. So you'll have to tell me.
Yeah. I mean, how it really comes down to, like if someone in the room, it doesn't matter who it is, they'll like, if they have a suggestion, you know, I'll definitely try it out. I mean, it's not going to be like, you know, I'm against it or anything. If it serves the song, I will serve the song. It's getting on the way.
Oops.
And, but then it's like, usually I know what the song calls for. You know, if I'm going to put like a Mellotron thing on something, or if it's going to be like an organ or Farfisa sound, or even if it's like a sound effect or something, you know, it's like, you try it out, you just try it out and just go from there. But I think once you start, like some musicians, they go into a situation like that and their ego is so fragile that they don't know how to navigate that type of scenario, where I know my role in the band, and that formula works.
Perfect.
And it's not gonna, like, why mess up something that's been working?
Absolutely.
So, but if something comes around where it's like, you know, if I hear something, I was like, hey guys, check this out. So if it sticks, great. If it doesn't, move on to the next thing.
Awesome.
Yeah.
So I guess we'll just have to see what happens for the new record. I've been enjoying all the Rival Sons updates on their, you know, studio updates. So looking forward to it rolling out into a new record.
Yeah, it's going to be good. It's going to be good. I'm looking forward to really looking forward to getting it finished. But I'll be honest with you, I speak like along with so many musicians out there, just get the live stuff going.
No, yeah. I mean, you know what? For rock and roll, touring is so important to promote new music.
Oh,
and yeah.
That's how you make your money.
Yeah, 100, yeah, well, yeah, that 100% as well. But, you know, working on the digital marketing side, we want you guys to tour because it gives us content to post and you know, work with. So believe me, I'm on board with you about getting back on the road.
You are going to be inundated with so much material and content to work with, because everyone in their like mother, brother, sister, cousin, dog are putting out records in 2021, 2022. And like it's going to be nuts, because the one of the local venues here, like in like around the Philadelphia area, there's this really great bar called Ortlieb's.
Yeah, I know Ortlieb's.
Well, they've been struggling trying to keep their stuff up. For anyone that's listening, it's like it's a small bar that has like a little stage in the back and stuff, holds about maybe 100 people. But they had this whole thing of save our stages. They're in that whole affiliate, and you know, people are just trying to just survive right now, and so many venues are closing down because they just can't survive. So when everything opens back up, all the bands that are playing, all the artists around America and even the globe, they're all going to be clamoring in for that venue on their route during their tour. So it's going to be interesting to see how everyone navigates that. And that's like a testament to the tireless work of the tour managers, production managers, and, you know, getting the hands and the local hands just back to work, because they're going to be working their asses off.
Absolutely.
It's going to be a beautiful thing. I cannot wait to walk past, like, you know, our guys and, you know, seeing them like cursing at someone because someone didn't do their job right, and just going to be like, don't you just love it?
Yeah.
Don't you just love all this?
Yeah, that's great. So, to kind of like wrap it up, I guess, is I love to ask kind of random fun questions.
Go for it.
If that's cool. Okay. And some of them are from fans, but I thought they were cool, so I'm putting them in the silly rapid fire question group.
Okay.
This is from Lauren on the Rival Sons and Daughters group. What is one thing you would tell your younger self?
Invest in Bitcoin.
Okay.
And don't worry about algebra.
Yeah, I love that. That's cool. Would you rather experience a zombie outbreak or an alien invasion?
Alien invasion.
Why?
Because I want to see shit flying around. And like, that's like I think of alien invasion. It'll just be kind of cool just to see like, different beings.
Yeah. So from another Facebook group question from Stacy, who is your favorite author?
Ooh, you know what? May sound trite, but my first favorite author was Charles Bukowski.
Oh, I love Charles Bukowski.
Ham on Rye changed my life.
Awesome.
Because it just got me into reading like on a regular basis. So yeah, it's pretty good. I've actually just finished. Oh my God, the name escapes me. Thomas Paine. The came out in 1794. Oh my God. Age of Reason.
Okay.
It's a very, very poignant book, especially in this day and age. And I'm not a very political person, but it kind of makes your eyes open up. But I've also been like, reading about like metaphysics. I just
you're like
my
one
buddy,
of the smartest people I know.
Oh, I'm not smart.
Oh,
I'm just very, very well spoken. But the another thing too that I just got into was quantum physics.
Wow.
Now I am very, very I'm a not amateur at best when it comes to this, but some of the things that are implied, like one of the things that kind of blew my mind was the focus of atoms. Everything that we live in is they're comprised of atoms, and they supposedly said that the only reasons why that atoms even make something like the cumulative object of atoms is because of our awareness. So you looking at your computer, your screen or something, right? Or walking down the street, you're drinking some water, whatever, and you don't have anything, like your awareness isn't around you, right? So they say that it's not even there. Like nothing is there.
Oh boy.
Kind of weird. It's kind of like a very, very reaching concept, but it's fascinating. And I'd rather try to think about stuff when I look at the stars or whatever. And then just, that's like one of my favorite things to do, especially in the wintertime here in the Northeast, following Orion's belt to Bellatrix to Betelgeuse, Sirius to Canis Minor, Pollux, Castor.
And you're in the country too, so you get that pitch black light. That's great.
Yeah. Yeah, it's pretty good. How's everything going up to in Jersey City? Like, how's the vibe?
The vibe. I mean, I don't go out much just because I try to do my part, but I do go out maybe once or twice a week and support a restaurant and,
That's awesome.
try to tip, 50 to 100% depending on where I go and what I buy and just do my part that way. But everybody's safe. Everybody's wearing masks. It doesn't matter if the homeless guy on the street or a family walking down the street, they're all doing their part. And everything's at, a smaller capacity, but it's still happening. And I think everything's being done safely. There was an outdoor music festival in October in the cemetery, which was, socially
awesome.
distant and cool. And yeah, so the vibes are good. I mean, I miss concerts as we all do, but it's the vibes are all good. And yeah, just about like those rituals every day. So
yeah, I think it's important to stay on some sort of schedule or have like your little personal wins during all this stuff. But I actually, like, in the past, I would say a couple weeks, actually started to see a glimmer of light at the end of the tunnel. Like having like, instead of like a forcing like the optimism, I'm actually just feeling it now. Yeah. Because I think that everything that's happening and stuff, and people with conspiracy theories, I really hope that they find peace and solace, in their daily lives. But I think that this whole thing is going to be like, wow, this is miraculously just going away sooner than we thought.
100%.
And I actually think that summer tours are going to happen.
Ooh,
Definitely
cool.
by fall, but I think that summer tours are going to happen. Maybe
Awesome.
that's just still me being like super optimistic.
It's good to be optimistic. You gotta make your future in your mind and let it be planted there in the universe.
It's like that whole it's that whole thing of like you wake up in the morning and you're like, I'm just going to decide to be in a good mood. That's it. You can say fuck off to like anyone that you want though, but as they do say in the South, they're like, their way of saying fuck off is bless your heart.
Oh yeah.
I love that. That's just the best thing ever.
Cool. And then I think I have one more question for you.
What's up?
Would you rather live in 1968 or 2068?
1968.
Cool. And why?
Yeah. Less people.
That's a good one. I didn't see that coming.
But I mean, that's for selfish reasons of like, maybe 1968, just for the fact of less people, just being able to see some of the things that aren't totally built up. But for progressive reasons and for culture and society, and just to see what was like, 2068.
Gulp.
Yeah, you know what? Fuck it. No, I'm sticking to 1968. I'm not going to be alive in 2068. At least I hope I'm not.
Cool. Well, thank you so much, Todd. Is there anything that you just want to I don't know, tell anybody out there, young and up and coming bands or anybody, if you want to, any last words, where to find you on the internet and all that jazz?
Well, you can find me on them interwebs at Todd the Mofo. If you just follow me on there, I got a couple things that are lined up that are going to be really, really fun. As far as, I think that there was like some sort of thing of like my podcast, and the reason why that I haven't had any new stuff was because I really didn't have anything positive to say, and I'm not really into interviewing people and stuff. So you rock at this, Brandi. So
thanks.
applaud you on that. But there is talks of something else coming up, and just I'll keep you all posted. And just keep on the lookout for Rival Sons' new record when it comes out, hopefully sometime this year.
Awesome. Sweet.
Yeah.
Thanks, Todd.
But thanks for having me on.
And thanks for coming on.
Let's get pizza again.
I know, we will get pizza. That was so good. Mariano's, right? Pizza or Menino's. Yeah.
Menino's.
It was so good.
I'm thinking about like, I haven't had like, too many carbs or anything during the month of January. So I think it's going to be like my first big outing. So good.
Sounds
the
good.
Arugula.
Oh yeah, that's a game changer. I'm not gonna lie, because I would have never thought about putting arugula on a pizza, but it was like really good.
It's really good, really good.
Awesome.
Do you put do you do the Hawaiian pizza?
Oh no, I don't. I just like.
Have you tried it?
I'm just turned off by it. I'm freaked out by it, and I just think about it in my mouth, and I'm like,
It's hard to hate when you haven't tried it.
Yeah.
Give it a shot. I'm saying like because I'm getting
to taste it.
Because I just had this perfect idea of doing like the half like pep and arugula, and the other half is going to be Hawaiian.
Oh, okay. You got to make sure.
And
you get that for the
I'm
gram.
gonna tag you on the pictures and just see me like eating it, like bite by bite.
Nice. I can't wait for it. Thanks, Todd.
No worries.
And there you have it. Todd Ögren, the keyboardist for Rival Sons and a touring and session musician. Be sure to follow him online everywhere at Todd the Mofo. If you've stuck around this far, thank you so much for listening. I'm Brandi Lukas, and you can follow me everywhere online at Brandi Lukas. That's Brandi with an I, Lukas with a K. Or on TikTok at Brandi is Going to Hell. You can also keep up with everything that I talk about, hobbies, music, etc. on brandyisgoingtohell.com. Until next time, make sure you get those showers in the pandemic. Be nice to animals, be nice to old people, and keep on rockin'. Thank you, yes you, for listening to Brandi is Going to Hell. I have a lot more thank yous in order for making the show come alive. I want to thank Celeste Giuliano for her amazing pinup photography. I dreamed of having my photographs taken by her in order to make my podcasting dreams come to life. So thank you, Celeste, and your team for making me look like a hot mama. Thanks to Crystal Rugel for her design direction for my new logo. Spent many nights texting her late. What do you think about this? What do you think about that? And she was such a great resource. Shout out and many thanks to Ryan Hanratty at Frosted Green Productions for all video production. My man, definitely don't want to be fucking with video, and you've saved my life. My amazing husband, Mike Airy, for always believing in me and bridging the gap between me and amazing artists. I love you and you're my rock. St. Neots hardcore band Impact for the music throughout the show. You can check out their EP Strength Through Loyalty on every streaming service. My friend Gooch, aka Ryan Nelson, for always asking me when's a new show coming out. My friend Matt Young, who got my foot into the door as an intern at IndieGoot, which led me to my first career in music at Q Prime. So a major shout out goes to Doug Oswandel as well for giving me a chance and hiring me there. My dad, John Lukas, for raising me with an impeccable taste in music. And my mom, Beth Ann Lukas, for helping me be a functional adult with good credit. Last but not least, Brandi is Going to Hell is dedicated to my badass grandmom, Elizabeth Betty Fowler.